Lloyds Auctions recently sold off the Unreil Collection, a collection of 50 of the coolest cars you're ever going to see. The collection included a number of GMP and A Torana A9Xs, Monaros, Falcons, Valiants, as well as a Lamborghini Aventador. We showcased the top 10 most expensive cars in the Unreil Collection in our top 10 list that we did a few weeks ago. If you haven't seen that yet, I'll put a link to the description. You can watch that after this one. This video is about the cheapies, the bargains, the cars that you might be able to buy yourself, put away for a rainy day, and maybe one day be worth what some of these expensive ones were. So I'm going to take you through the top 10 cheapest cars in the Unreil Collection. Coming in at number 10, probably the most interesting car, obviously because it's the most expensive of the cheapies, is a 1983 Ford Sierra RS 5000 in Dick Johnson Shell Ultra High 17 livery. This car is an XR4i, which is rare and highly sought after. It's got the Shell 17 livery and it's currently got a V6 and 5-speed in it. Of course, the actual car had an inline 4 with a Garrett turbocharger, as released in the 1987 model. The Shell Sierras first appeared in 1987 and won one race during that season, but in '88, Johnson and Bow won all but one round of the championship and finished 1 and 2 in the championship. The race they didn't win was won by Tony Longhurst in the Benson and Hedges Sierra, so they were pretty dominant that year. In 1989, they won the first 6 rounds of the championship and finished first and second again, with Brocky finishing third in his own Sierra. They also won Bathurst that year as well.
Also another smooth lap so far from Dick Johnson as he heads up to BP cutting.
1990 was the beginning of the end for the Sierra with the arrival of the Nissan Skyline R32 GTR, also known as Godzilla. Jim Richards won the championship that year with 2 of his 3 wins in the R31 Skyline, but his final win coming in the new R32. The Sierras were competitive until the end of Group A in 1992, with Dick Johnson leading the Bathurst race when it was red flagged.
Top of the hill. This is the kind of send-off, and I don't want to...
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I don't want to be unkind to Winfield and the Nissan team, but the punters at the top of the hill, this is the kind of send-off they wanted to see for the Nissans.
Then the win went to Scaife and Richards, and then this happened.
I'll keep racing, but I'll tell you what, this is going to remain with me for a long time. You're a pack of arseholes.
The 1983 Ford Sierra Dick Johnson RS 5000 Tribute sold for $40,001. That's probably within range for some of you guys, so you keep your eyes open for this stuff. Could be worth a lot more down the track. Who knows? That's number 10. In number 9, we have a very nice 2017 Holden VF Commodore SS. It's only done 98,000 Ks. It's got the 6.2 litre V8 and it's a nice blue colour. That sold for $38,000. If you like Commodores, you'll like this countdown because there's a few in there. Don't run away if you don't. There's other cars as well. There's some very interesting stuff in here. In 8th position is another Commodore, but it's a very different one to the VF. It's a 1988 VL Commodore BT1, which of course the BT1 is the National Police Pack. It's got gold Simmons wheels, and I think that looks like a Group A kit on there. It's got 128,000 Ks and is a 5-litre auto. Very nice car, and that sold for $35,000. Next car is an 86 BT1 VL Commodore. That's a yellow one. Of course, also has a National Police Pack, 5-litre auto, with 110,000 Ks on it. So both of these didn't really get much use. They were probably ones that were used by the chief rather than squad cars or something like that. I don't know, but that's pretty low Ks for a police car. So yeah, that one sold for $33,000 and the white one sold for $35,000. So both fairly cheap. In position 6, we've got another Ford, but it's not what you're thinking. It's a 1980 Ford F350. It's a V8 twin-turbo, 3-speed auto. It's listed as a tow truck, but it's clearly got a flat tray on the back, but it looks to be in very good condition. And apparently it's got plenty of power. This would be a nice one to have to cart stuff around on. That one sold for 30 grand. So for what you get, I think even that's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal at all. If you've got this far into the video and you're enjoying it, we'd really appreciate a like and maybe a subscribe. And it helps our channel grow. At number 5 is a 1990 Land Rover 110. This is an Australian delivered for the Aussie Army. It's obviously got the full camo gear on it. These things are unstoppable off-road. They've got aluminium body so they don't rust, and they're pretty well a go-anywhere vehicle. That also had a trailer available with it, which sold for $11,600, and the Land Rover itself sold for $25,000. That's probably a pretty good price for that. You can probably get them cheaper though. But you know, that was fully kitted out for the Army, so everything you would want on that one, I think. The next one coming in at number 4 is a 1977 Ford F350 tow truck. This one is also not your traditional tow truck. It's a bit of a ramp truck, and apparently this is the style that was used to cart Moffat's Falcons around in the 70s. I think if you look back at some of the old videos, you can see some F350s like this. Not sure if it is one of those or not, but still, if you've got a bit of a collection, it would be handy to have to move your cars around. Got a nice winch, and it looks in pretty good nick for its age, and that one sold for $24,500. Talking about Commodores, they're not all Commodores in the top three, but let's say there's some Commodores in the top three. In third position is a 1997 Holden VS BT1 Commodore, of course. BT1 is the National Police Pack, not low kilometres this one. It is a VS with the 5 litre and the auto. They're pretty hard to get these days. Anything with a V8 is hard to get these days. So, you know, at $16,000, that's probably a bit more than what I would be paying for that, but for what it is, a V8, you're paying at least 10, so it's not too bad. In number 2, the second cheapest one, which is probably well within the realm of a lot of people. It's a 1998 VT Commodore SS. It's another police car. It's a 5 litre auto. This one doesn't have the BT1 designation, but it does have SS badges on it. It's got mag wheels and HDT accessories, so who knows what the deal is with that one. It's done a lot of Ks, to the point where they didn't actually say how many Ks it's done. So it's done a lot. It's been a well-used car, this one. Still looks pretty good. I would say that the VT is one of the best looking Commodores ever. Again, people might argue with that, but you know, I remember when I first saw a VT, I was like, I'm going to have one of them one day, and I have had a couple, so obviously a favourite of mine. You might have a different opinion. Happy for you to put that in the comments if you think it's not the best Commodore, but VT VX, that body style is pretty good. Obviously I've got my VU Ute, which is the same style, so you know, I'm a bit of a fan of that one. That one sold for $7,200. So I don't know how many Ks it's done, but that one is a bit of a bargain, because you try and find a V8 under 10K, it's pretty hard. That one's a pretty good deal. We're up to number 1. What was the cheapest car in the Unreil Collection? I'm not talking about trailers, because there was a few trailers and stuff. I'm talking about actual vehicles. Now, this vehicle is the same model. My dad had one of these. He rolled it, and he kept driving it for about another year after that, all out of whack and everything, because they just kept going and going and going, as I guess most cars of that era did. The number 1 cheapest car was the 1954 Ford Prefect. It's not the actual car that the vendor had as his first car, but it is very similar to what his father bought for him when he was 13 years old, and that's what started his whole collection. That sold for $5,200. I don't really take much notice of the Ford Prefect market, but any car of that age that's going for $5,000, you're doing all right, I think. So yeah, that would have been a good buy for somebody. If you love old cars, there's another video for you right here. I'm pointing, but you can't see it.